there's no other way to say it than you just gotta fucking send it. It's just freeing. When you're drifting, it's just gonna sound like pure cheesy shit saying this, but you just feel free. There's nothing else going on in your head apart from you're sideways. Don't crash.
Most people will just see a car as a tin can on four wheels, something that they can just get into to go see their family, go to the shops. I can understand that from their point of view, but to some people, and even manufacturers, they build cars for enthusiasts. And to, a car enthusiast, it is like, it's a hobby, it's a passion. Everybody has their own thing that they like doing, and cars just happen to be one that I like doing. There's so many different things that I enjoy about driving in general. I think for me it's some people will say the sense of speed. I think for me mainly it's just the sheer joy of feeling everything through the car, and not so much the sense of speed. Like, that's great, and on public roads it's not the best idea. We've all done it, but I think for me it's more about the handling and what you can feel through the car, and that's why I prefer these kind of older cars, because you do get that real sense of you're at one with the car almost. So there are people I know that don't understand it. There's people like my girlfriend, my mum. I've got friends that don't really understand why we put countless hours and money into these things, because again, they just see it as, well, it's a bit of metal that gets me down to the shops. And I don't know why some people don't see it. I think you can just generalize it as it's just a hobby. You've got friends that want to spend their money on like makeup or football gear or gaming or whatever it might be that they do in their spare time. For me, it's cars, and I get a real sense of achievement when I buy something for it to improve the car. And I don't want to be a hypocrite. I am guilty of it. Like, I think we've all done it. I think any car enthusiast has broken the speed limits, they've gone too fast around a corner, they've been a bit of a knob on like a roundabout or something. We've all done it. We've all done like a burnout, or you're always going to do it. If you love cars, there's always that kind of urge to just be a bit of a yob every now and then. I do feel like actual street racing, when you're racing other people, I think there's a limit to how far it can go. But I think in general street racing, if you're weaving in and out cars on the motorway and you're racing another guy, I think that's where it's like taken on a track, because you're putting other people's lives at risk essentially. I know friends that have modified their cars and been a little bit silly in road conditions. He did loads of stuff to this car. We're talking brakes, tyres, centrifugal supercharger, HKS kit to it, you name it, he threw money down on it. It was torrential rain. This is a rear-wheel drive car with plenty of power. Span out down in a ditch, put it on its side, and that was the end of that car. That's probably like the worst case scenario I've kind of experienced close to home, but not on a major scale. I've seen on like the news and Facebook and stuff, people street racing crashes, people racing at like 140 miles an hour and losing control and stuff. I think that's stupid. I think it's easy for the media to, especially like you see, especially on Facebook, people like drifting around roundabouts or something. It's very easy for the media just to go, oh, these street racers doing all this illegal stuff on the road and blah blah blah. It's very easy once, because everything's captured on film these days. I know one story where there was probably 3 or 4 guys tandem drifting around a roundabout, and it got publicised by the news. These guys are doing it in a massive industrial estate. It's 2 a.m. The closest housing residentials are like a mile away. They're out the way of everybody else. They're not, they're only putting themselves at risk. And even though drifting around a roundabout is 30, 40 miles an hour, if that, they're not really, they're only going to damage their cars. They're not going to injure anybody. I think, over exaggerated sometimes by the media.
I don't think the media exaggerate that much, to be honest with you, because there are a lot, and I mean a lot of bellends. You'll see the people that go to car shows or like car meets and will just start doing a donut in between like hundreds of people, and that's not what we do. That's not right, because you are putting everyone else at danger. We used to go to a spot in Manchester called Magic Roundabout, and I don't know if you know, but a couple of months back there was a massive crash there, and it actually killed a young girl and put another lad in a wheelchair, and that was because someone who was driving there wasn't up to par with drifting. He's just in a rental, and everyone was giving it big beans, and he thought, look at me, lost control of the car, hit a group of people. And we used to go there all the time. Like, we went there was a night, it was Friday night, it's a long truck route, so there's a lot of trucks going in and out of there. As long as you were clear of the trucks and you let them go past, there was never any issues. But once all the other people started watching and it creates a crowd, they start blocking trucks, the police start getting called, and then that's when all of it goes tits up.
I've actually only had my licence for 2 years in a car. Who knows this before? Been driving since I was 21 and just turned 23. I've had 2 MX-5s, 3 MX-5s. I've had a E36. I got given a Vauxhall Astra, which I never used. I just got given a Vauxhall Astra. I then bought another E36. I've had an RX-8, and now I've got a Skyline. This is what a 318 looks like. If you're wondering, that's a 1.8 litre 4-pot engine, dead tiny. And I like Pokemon. Bit of a squeaky alternator belt that's not been moved for a couple of weeks. Literally nothing in it. Absolutely nothing in it. Carbon fibre spoiler just for pure looks. 50mm extended arches from the wider wheels, which aren't on it at the minute. Stickers. Everyone loves stickers. Shout out Jay Pennon.
Ever since a young age, I've always loved R34s. And then when I started getting into the drifting scene, I then started looking at Silvias and S13s. And my ultimate dream car was a Nissan 200SX or 180SX S13. You know the expression, never meet your heroes? So I was like, I don't want to buy one because I don't want to hate the car. I would rather see them and enjoy them than buy one and hate them. But the 34 has always been one of them cars, like, I'll never be able to get one of them. And I just got the opportunity to get one. I was like, I'm not going to say no.
Currently, this is just the standard 4-door R34 with the Nissan lip kit. Oh, and I'm broke, so I've only got one steering wheel. I've got to move it between all 3 cars. I'm going to drift it. I've been telling everyone I'm not going to drift it, but I'm going to drift it. I can't help it. I'm just going to slide it.
All my friends are through cars. You know, I used to struggle with a lot of depression and shit, and building cars just use focus to get your mind away from stuff. And
I was playing with RC cars with my uncle since I was maybe 3, and then obviously my dad's just been around since day 1, and I've always been putting a car seat in his cars, and I've wanted a spec car since I've really got into cars. First time I saw it was probably Tokyo Drift. I think that's where most people probably first saw the car. I think that's at that point was when I was like, I like that car, and I was probably 12, 13 when that film came out.
Anything that's in your head, like stress or anything that's going on mentally, just goes when you're doing dumb shit in a car.